Hello and a warm welcome. You've joined us on Your Trades right here on ET Now. I'm Ashesha Advaryu. With me is Mansi Dave, and this is a show where we wrap up today's trading day and prep you for tomorrow's trading day. And Mansi, turned out to be a good day. In fact, Nifty ended in the green, although we saw some kind of downtick for the bank Nifty, isn't it?
Absolutely, Ashesha, and it was a choppy session as we clearly see, but then decent one as well. In the morning, we did not see this much up move or momentum coming in from the global markets, but the domestic market did behave quite maturely. Nifty did remain range bound and did close around 24,850 level and above, which is at least a good sign. We did sustain those levels. Bank Nifty, though, was quite volatile, and not to forget that we will have the monthly expiry session coming in, and volatility is anticipated and it will be expected in the coming session as well. However, talking stock specific, L&T was firing all cylinders on healthy quarterly numbers, and then brokerage's bullish reports. So that was another one which was positive in trade. At the same time, HUL quarter one did see low single digit underlying pricing. So that one consumption theme is another one which is playing around because of the seasonality factor as well. Maruti Suzuki, the profit and margin pressures were likely, and that was something which was keeping the stock in focus, along with Eicher Motor, which had a launch cost to drag margins at the same time. So another news flow which was making Eicher Motor in stock specific flows. Coal India, while quarter one lower dispatches likely to weigh in, that's another one which you need to keep an eye on. And RBI did ease AIF investment norms from banks and NBFCs. That's an exclusive coming from ET Now, and our news flow which you need to understand and keep a tap on. GST rationalization likely for agro product is something which we take from the sources, and at the same time Avenue Supermart Ashesha was soaring in trade on store addition plan announcements. So news flows were a lot many. At the same time, indices were range bound, but we will see these news flow and action moving ahead because we are in middle of the earnings season, right?
Well, absolutely. We are in the middle of earnings season, a whole host of cues to watch out for. We have a whole host of companies that will be reporting their numbers tomorrow. But to understand what the market setup is looking like, what are the key levels that you should keep an eye out on in trade tomorrow, we are now joined by Rajesh Bhosle, technical analyst at Angel One. Rajesh, thanks so much for taking your time out and joining us today. Nifty near that 24,850 mark. Bank Nifty ended in the red. Do you expect the trend to continue, or perhaps some bit of profit booking will go on for the next few trading sessions?
Yeah, so if we see from yesterday, we have seen some bounce back in the Nifty, but overall today's trading session was a bit choppy. In fact, if we see last week, we had a bearish breakdown from a channel pattern, also from the 50-day EMA. And as we reached those levels around 24,900 to 950, there was some sluggishness in today's session. So as we move towards the monthly expiry, also if we see the important event of Trump trade decision is also there. So we expect that maybe index may consolidate in a range somewhere around 24,950, 25,000 on the higher side, whereas on the lower side 24,700 to act as a support. So until we stay in this range, we are likely to see consolidation, and traders are suggested to use this range by somewhere around 24,700, and once it reaches somewhere around 24,950, 25,000, there that would be the ideal level to lighten up the long positions.
That's the index specific view coming in, but at the same time, Rajesh, stock specific trading ideas from your end, and to name a few, L&T and New India Assurance on the back of strong quarterly earnings, we are doing real good in the session. Let's say around 18 to 19% up move on New India Assurance, and L&T also was up around 4.5–5%.
Yeah, so L&T had a stagger run in the last two sessions. It was trading somewhere around 3,400 and it is now surpassed 3,600, well around its recent swing high. We expect that possibly L&T can continue this positive momentum and possibly head towards the 3,800 to 3,850 levels. But having said that, already 300 points move has been seen in the last two sessions. So ideal approach would be to use dips to buy. The bullish gap left today around 35.90 to 35.50 is likely to act as a support. So any dip towards this gap would be a buying opportunity. And on the high side, keep a target of around 3,800.
Okay, and any other stock specific ideas that you can share with our viewers today?
Yeah, so if we see today, the counters like IOC, HPCL, BPCL were in action, especially if we see BPCL was doing very well. If we see last three session, it has been taking support around its 50 EMA, and it managed to close about its last two sessions. So higher bottom structure is visible on the daily chart, and we sense that for the August series, there could be a continuation of up move towards the 362, 365 level. So bias is positive, can be bought at current levels with a stop loss of 329 that has been acting as a strong support for the last three trading zones. And on the high side, first target would be 353, and possibly in the August series can move up to 365 to 370 levels. My second buy call is on a defensive space, Britannia. FMCG and pharma has done pretty well in the last few sessions. If we see Britannia as well, last three sessions, it has formed a matching lows around 55-70 levels. And today's up move was very strong, engulfing the losses of last 1 week. And it has also surpassed its 20 and 50 EMA. So also in this, we are seeing a higher bottom structure and expect a strong performance in Britannia. So with a stop loss of 56.20, Britannia can be bought. In the near term, we expect targets of around 59.50 levels.
Okay, so two trading ideas coming from Rajesh Bhosle, BPCL and Britannia. We'll keep an eye on that. Rajesh, thank you so much for your view and helping us with your index strategy as well as your stock-specific recommendation. Thanks for that. Moving ahead, and we try to give you not just the technical advice but also the fundamental outlook of the market. On the same lines, Sridhar Sivram, Investment Director, Enam Holdings, says that he doesn't see much scope for financials to maintain their leadership. Listen in to understand his rationale.
Our large financials are so big now. Look at SBI, it's a 40 lakh crore loan book. HDFC is almost 30 lakh crore loan book. And look at their view on growth. Both say that we'll grow at system level growth. System is growing at 12%. So you're really talking of, a best case 10 to 12%, maybe 15% if everything falls into place. So these are going to be more the steady long-term movers just because of the size. It's not possible for a large bank to, outperform the system. So I think there has to be a reset. So if they were trading at say 4 times price to book or any of the other smaller banks, if you're going to grow at system level, which is say 12 to 15%, the price to book eventually will readjust. So for the banks to take leadership, I'm finding it difficult to believe that they will be the leaders, but markets always have ways to surprise. I would think it will be some other sector. I don't know, maybe it's manufacturing, maybe it's something else, maybe pharmaceuticals. I have no idea on what it will be. If you ask me at this stage, we are not seeing any sector level big themes. We are seeing bottom up stock picking ideas.
Some fundamental long-term ideas coming your way from Sridhar Shivram, but shifting focus to the biggest gainer on the Nifty 50 today, and that was L&T. The stock ended nearly 5% higher in trade today. Numbers were good. Brokerage houses have given a thumbs up. But what do brokerage houses have to say? Kanishka is now joining us with a roundup.
Well, L&T's strong Q1 performance has drawn mixed reactions from brokerages. Motilal Oswal, that remains upbeat, maintaining a buy call and hiking the target price to 4,200 rupees. The brokerage has highlighted solid order inflow of 94,453 crore rupees, which is much higher than the estimates. Apart from that, strong execution and a robust 15 lakh crore rupees prospect pipeline, that's keeping the brokerage bullish. The green energy push, especially the Panipat hydrogen deal, that also stands out. However, some key risks as per the brokerage are possible delays, commodity price volatility and working capital stress. Meanwhile, Nuvama also retained a buy call, raising the target price to 4,200 rupees. It has pointed to sharp execution in high energy segment and high tech and reaffirmed guidance of 15% revenue growth in FY26. However, Avendus is cautious on L&T, maintaining a reduced call with a target price of 3,000 rupees. It has flagged soft domestic order inflows and concerns over IT services. While international projects are positive, they warn that lower crude prices could hit project conversions. So that's what the brokerages are making of L&T's Q1 result.
Absolutely, Kanishka. So strong set of numbers and at the same time bullish brokerage reports helping L&T. Moving ahead, auto major Maruti Suzuki is all set to report its quarterly earnings. Margins are expected to remain under pressure. However, investors are keeping close eye on demand outlook and new product timelines. Let's go across to Shrishti to get in what the street is penciling in from the quarterly numbers. Shrishti, what should one expect from Maruti Suzuki and in terms of earnings?
Well, a decent set is expected from Maruti Suzuki, given the fact that this time when we see the volumes, that has seen a jump of only 1% on a YY basis, while sequentially the company witnessed a double-digit decline. So factoring all of that in the margins as well as on the company's financials, this time in the numbers, the key to watch will be the margin figure, because given the fact that the UV contribution must be a little lower, other than that, the demand remains to be a little bit of concern. And yes, there has been a bit of a average selling price hike of 2% is what we are expecting. And that all will should bode well for the margin figure, where sequentially we are expecting the number at 10.4%. And that is the number two key to watch out for, because any surprises or deviation from this number can really impact the stock. Talking about the revenue, a 2% jump on a YY basis is what we are expecting. EBITDA expected at 3,790 crores and the profit expected at 3,087 crores. But well, of course, apart from the numbers, all eyes will be on the demand outlook, how we're seeing the growth for the small car segment. And along with that, interesting times ahead for Maruti Suzuki as well, especially with respect to their upcoming EV launch and the pricings being announced. So we will have all eyes on the management commentary as well.
All eyes on management commentary, but it's not just that. From the auto sector, Eicher Motors will also be reporting its numbers tomorrow. Tell us, what are the expectations from this auto company this time?
So from Eicher Motors as well, a decent set is expected, given the fact that this time when we see the Royal Enfield volumes, that has seen a surge of 17% on a YY basis. But the most of the push has come in from the export market, because exports overall has surged 72%. Now the domestic growth was also steady at 12% on a YY basis, while we all know the kind of stress that is going on within the commercial vehicle segment. So from VECV, not much of an excitement that is expected. Now when it comes to the numbers, on the consolidated front, we are expecting 13% growth on their revenue. 4,982 crores is our expectation. EBITDA expected at 1,189 crores, while the margins expected to be stable at close to 24%. And lastly, on the profit figure, 1,191 crores is what we are expecting. Other than that, the Royal Enfield margins that's expected to be steady at 24.8%, and for VECV margins as well, we are expecting that to be at 7.6%. So these are some of the key monitorables when it comes to Eicher Motor numbers, and here too the key to watch out will be the margin figure and the management commentary going ahead, specifically with respect to demand.
But shifting focus from the auto sector to the coal sector, then Coal India will also be reporting its numbers tomorrow, and we are expecting a weak set from Coal India this time. Consolidated revenue is expected to come in at about 34,800 crore, which will be a decline of about 4% on a year-on-year basis. Now remember, volume dispatches has been on the lower side, and that is likely to weigh heavy on revenues this time. Company has already reported their volume number, where dispatches stood at about 190 million tons, which is a decline of a solid 4.5% on a year-on-year basis in the first quarter, and that is likely to weigh heavy on revenue. As far as margins are concerned, we are expecting EBITDA margin at 30% versus 39% that the company had reported same time last year. But remember, e-auction premium and e-auction realizations are expected to tick higher, so that will cushion some kind of downtick in revenue. In fact, e-auction realizations could rise as much as 9 to 10% on a year-on-year basis, and e-auction premiums could also rise nearly 4 to 5%. But all eyes will be on management commentary, especially with respect to the pricing trends in the e-auction premium and realization segment, and what's the outlook going forward when it comes to the volume growth for FY26 and 27. But all in all, we are expecting weak set of numbers for Coal India, where revenue is expected to see a decline and margins too could contract on a year-on-year basis.
Okay, so that's the expectation before the earnings for Coal India. We'll keep an eye on that, and once we get the numbers, Ashisha will also help us with the reviews of all the earnings for Coal India. Moving ahead, let's now go across to Ravinder and understand what are the stocks and news that are doing rounds on the exchanges. Ravinder, over to you.
Well, as DMart is in focus, where company in the analyst meet has said that they will be double down on the investment in the adding new stores. So back of this, DMart is in focus. Apart from the Star Health Insurance is also in focus, where company has announced the Q1 result, and company reported a good set of number in the quarterly gone by. And the con call in the management said that their focus is on improving claims and customer experience, and they have decided to exit from unviable large corporates and co-insurance segment, and in retail implemented pricing correction covering 65% of their book in FY25, and they said that the company will be undertaking pricing strategy every year. Apart from this, New India Insurance is also in focus on back of their good Q1 number, where company's net premium return was up by 13% year-on-year basis, and if we talk about net premium earned, the net premium earned also saw an uptick of 10% year-on-year basis at 9,422 crore, and if we talk about PAT, then PAT also saw a good jump from 233 crore to 392 crore. Apart from this, on back of brokerage upgrade, M&M Financial Services is also in focus, where Citi has come out with a note, and they have upgraded the stock to buy from neutral rating with target price rupees 292. And lastly, Varun Beverages is also in focus on the back of the positive brokerage note, where Goldman Sachs has come out with a note, and they have maintained their buy rating, but they have target price rupees 610 as compared to earlier target price rupees 590. So back of this, Varun Beverages is also in focus.
The stocks that were in focus on the back of news, but shifting focus back to the auto sector then, and Tata Motors is all set to acquire Italian truck maker Iveco from its principal shareholders Agnelli family for about $4.5 billion US. My colleague Anurag Joshi is now joining us with more exclusive details on this story. Anurag?
Tata Motors is poised to acquire Iveco, and this deal is likely to be about $4.5 billion. Now, this transaction, Tata Motors is likely to acquire 27% equity stake from the Agnelli family, which is the key shareholder in Iveco. Now, if we see Tata Motors is looking to acquire 27.1% equity stake from Exor, which is the Agnelli family vehicle, and subsequent to that is planning a tender offer to buy out the smaller shareholders in the company. Also, Exor is controlling about 43% equity voting rights in the company Iveco. Now, about Iveco, it's the smallest of large European truck makers, and it specializes in light, medium and heavy commercial vehicles, and also the buses, and it's got presence across the world. But Europe makes up about almost 3/4 of its revenue. Now we just take a peek into Tata Motors' past global acquisitions. So there have been two key acquisitions: the Chorus acquisition in 2007, that was $12 billion, and in JLR, Jaguar Land Rover in 2008 for $2.3 billion. Now, some of the, if you see some of the trivia about the acquisition for Tatas in the past, Chorus was the costliest acquisition for the conglomerate, and also JLR was acquired by Tatas in 2008, and subsequent from Ford of the United States. In 2022, Tata Group acquired Ford's Sanat plant in Gujarat. Interestingly, Ford was not very enthused about the Tata's car business when a Tata Group delegation had visited Detroit in 1999. And just a little bit of tidbit, if we see, there was another small acquisition of Tetley Tea, which was acquired by Tata Tea. Now, that transaction, the negotiation for that lasted from 1995 to 2000.
So Tata Motors in focus on the back of that exclusive story. Thanks so much, Anurag, for joining us with all those details. But let's also put the spotlight on a whole host of cues and events that you need to keep an eye out on tomorrow. Today, of course, we will have that OPEC Plus or rather FOMC meeting outcome, and any kind of commentary will be crucial. But apart from that, Nifty expiry, weekly expiry tomorrow. So we could see some kind of volatility in the last hour of trade. From the US, we have consumer income and spending data that will be released tomorrow. PCE price index and jobless claims data will also be released tomorrow, so keep an eye out on that as well. Apart from that, Apple, Samsung, Amazon, Hitachi, MasterCard, these are some of the global companies that will be reporting their numbers. Back home from the Nifty pack. We have Coal India, HUL, Sun Pharma, Eicher Motors, Maruti Suzuki. So a whole host of companies from the Nifty pack will also be reporting their numbers tomorrow. Let's also put the spotlight on corporate action then. We have Cholamandalam Finance, which will be considering their fundraising plans. So a whole host of cues and events to watch out for in trade tomorrow, Mansi.
Absolutely. So a lot of economic indicative action, and later we'll also later during the night and tomorrow morning we'll have the interest rate decision and the Fed Chair Jerome Powell commentary, which we all will keep an eye on. Moving ahead, ET now believes in the importance of investment. The beginning of the month often marks key financial activities, salary credits, bill payments and planning expenses. But just as we plan for our expenses, it's equally important to plan for our investments. To encourage this habit, SBI Mutual Fund in collaboration with Times Network is launching a nationwide investor awareness initiative, Bharat Nivesh, Behtar Nivesh, Behtar Kal. The objective of this initiative is to promote the habit of consistent investing among Indians, helping them secure their financial future. As part of the campaign, we are observing 4th of every month as a monthly reminder to ensure that you start your mutual fund SIP or ensure your existing SIP continues. So go on and set your reminder to invest consistently and stay committed to your goals for the financial well-being of you and your loved ones.
That's all the time we have in this edition of Your Trades, but don't go anywhere. More news and updates will continue on the other side. Stay tuned.